The 76ers open their season on Wednesday against the Boston Celtics. And on today's show, we got some huge injury news on both the Sixers and the Celtics side that's going to impact this matchup in Boston. But speaking of this game, do you want us to go live on the channel here for Sixers versus Celtics? We can go live during the game, live play-by-play analysis, pre-game show, post-game show, break down the first game of the Sixers season. Only if you guys want us to, though. So I want you to show me if you want us to go live here on the channel for that season opener. Hit that thumbs up icon, like the video. Say if we can get to about 250 likes, we will go live for that game. And let's get right into the injury news now, starting on the Sixers side of things. Kai Carlin of Sixers Wire with some notes here from today's practice on Thursday, October 16th. Embiid did not participate today. That was planned. Do not panic. There has not been a setback with his injury. This is always a planned rest day for Embiid. But Paul George, this is really the notable piece of information here. A full participant in today's practice, including some 5-on-5 work for the first time since he had that knee surgery back in July. That is huge. And we'll get to some more on Paul George from Nick Nurse and Shams Charania in a second. But let's touch on Embiid really quickly. Again, rested today, a planned rest day, nothing to worry about. I fully expect Embiid to be ready to go for that season opener against Boston. There's a chance he plays tomorrow in the preseason finale against the Timberwolves, according to Nick Nurse. He had said that a couple days ago. There was a chance he could play in that game. I wouldn't play him in the preseason, but good to know that he's at least potentially available for that. Nurse was asked today if there is a definite answer on if Embiid will be ready for that game against Boston next week. And Nurse kind of, played it cool a little bit, didn't want to give too much away, said, well, I think we're going to know tomorrow. I mean, I think there's still that same chance that he will, but we will know more tomorrow. If he does play in that preseason game tomorrow, that'll obviously be a good sign, but did sound pretty optimistic and positive. I do expect Embiid to be ready for that first game of the season. Now, as it comes to Paul George, the question is, will he be ready for the season opener? Like, I'm more positive on Embiid. Will Paul George be joining him, given that Paul George did participate in 5-on-5 today for the first time? Was participating in 3-on-3 earlier in the week, progressing to 5-on-5. It all sounds good. But under a week until that first game of the season, is he good to go? According to Nick Nurse, probably not. In fact, he was asked, is he 100% going to be good to go? Nurse said, no, I think, look, yesterday was his first day of live. Today was, a small number of live, and today was a short amount of 5-on-5. He didn't do a full 5-on-5 work. The whole team as a whole didn't. That's why he was a full participant, but they didn't do full 5-on-5. We just have to keep waiting. I really didn't expect Paul George to be ready to go. In fact, I'm a little bit surprised he's already participating in that 5-on-5, considering Wednesday was the first 3-on-3 action he had. Prior to that, it was a lot of individual stuff, some one-on-ones. So it's good to see that he is progressing a little bit here and getting to a point now where he's able to play more, real 5-on-5 basketball. But this isn't a shocker or a disappointment to me. I was a little bit more on the side of it was going to take a little bit longer to get Paul George fully back up to speed until he was able to be out there on the floor. Shams Charania from the national angle also adding on to what Nick Nurse had to say. I've been talking to people in Paul George's camp, and I'm told it is not expected he will be suiting up for opening night next Wednesday. I am told, though, this is good, he is making significant progress, and a debut should be shortly into the regular season, as opposed to last year when, of course, he got hurt and missed the start of the season, a good chunk of it. The Sixers, of course, as I mentioned, opened their season against the Celtics, but after that, they have a couple of days off, and they play the Hornets, one day off, then they have a back-to-back against the Magic and the Wizards, and then they round out October with another matchup against the Celtics. So Paul George not going to play in the opener, but the fact that you have 2 days off after that first game, they don't play, again, Wednesday till Saturday, good chance he does play in that home opener there against the Charlotte Hornets. If not, definitely I expect by that second game against the Magic, probably though sits out one of these back-to-backs, as I imagine Joel Embiid will. So those are obviously the two big ones. As for some other injury notes, Jared McCain, if you missed yesterday's show, was at practice, talked to the media, had a brace on his hand, and he said he will be getting reevaluated in 2 weeks, progressing as expected after he had that surgery on the UCL in his thumb. In 2 weeks, they're going to reevaluate him, possibly replace the brace, which is pretty big and bulky, with a smaller one. So on track, but obviously McCain will not be ready for the start of this season either. And then Trendon Watford, man, look, hamstring injuries are tough. These soft tissue injuries, you don't want to push them too far because of the risk of re-aggravation. And if you do get a severe hamstring injury, it could bother you all year. That could have you out for months. So I think they're playing it a little bit safe here with Watford, who, kind of similar to Paul George, was just doing a lot of one-on-one and a lot of individual drills, hasn't really progressed all that much. So he doesn't seem very close to returning, which is a shame because I think he can play a big role for this team. We will continue to monitor this, but I imagine Watford probably going to miss at least a week or two, if not more, to begin the season. Hamstring injuries are just tough. So that is the Sixers side of things on the injury front. Obviously, the big note that we know Paul George is not going to play in this game against Celtics. But we also have some huge injury news for Boston on Jaylen Brown. Of course, Tatum already going to be out, you think, the entire season. There's some crazy stuff going on with him that he could be back, but some big stuff going on as well with Jaylen Brown that we will get to right around the corner. But first, today's show would not be possible without our friends at PrizePicks. Look, you and I make decisions every day, but on PrizePicks, being right can get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement this basketball season on PrizePicks, where it is good to be right. I love playing PrizePicks because of how simple it is to play. All you have to do is pick more or less on at least 2 player stats, and if you get your picks right, you could cash in big time. Takes under 60 seconds to get your picks in. And on PrizePicks, a great new feature they have to offer, stacks, where you can pick the same player up to 3 times in the same lineup. So if you wanted to pick the more on Jalen Hurts' pass yards, rush yards, and touchdowns, you can do that in the same lineup only on PrizePicks. Opening night this Tuesday. Sixers, of course, don't play until Wednesday, but a lot of teams do play on Tuesday, and PrizePicks has a max discount on Tuesday for Steph Curry, more than half a point. All Steph has to do is score 1 point. Then give me the more on Luka Doncic, more than 8 assists. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, less than 31.5 points. And Alfred Sengun, more than 34.5 points, rebounds, and assists. It is that simple to play the game. And for all my Sixers fans out there, a great deal for you from PrizePicks. Download the PrizePicks app today. Use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, it's good to be right. So Jaylen Brown got injured in the Celtics preseason game yesterday on Wednesday in the first quarter against the Toronto Raptors with hamstring tightness. Left early, did not return. And look, we talked about the hamstring injury with Trendon Watford. It can be a tricky injury to manage given the different severities of it, how you respond to recovery. So we really do not know at this point what Jaylen Brown's recovery is going to be, how long he's going to be out for. There's a good chance he's not going to be ready for this game against the Sixers on Wednesday, given, again, just under a week away, and it's a hammy. Just really unpredictable with these kind of injuries. And of course, we know the Celtics are already without Jason Tatum. So there's some talk he could come back by like February or March from his Achilles tear, which usually keeps you out for the entire season. You know, credit to him for attacking his rehab. We will see, but obviously not going to play in the early part of the season for Boston. So, look, there's a chance Jaylen Brown does miss this game. Now, there's no guarantee. They haven't ruled him out at this point. So, as of right now, the potential opening night starters for Boston could look like this if Jaylen Brown is in there. Peyton Pritchard, Derek White, Jaylen Brown, and then look at that front court of Chris Boucher and Nehemiah Queta. They obviously traded away Porzingis. Drew Holiday is gone. No Tatum in there. It's a little bit of a reset, retool year for Boston, but this lineup, you know, even if Jaylen Brown is in there, I wouldn't say I'm very afraid of this lineup. I mean, if Joel Embiid is healthy and ready to go, you're telling me Chris Boucher or Nehemiah Queta is going to try to lock him up. Luke Cornett also not on this roster anymore. It's just not a great-looking Boston Celtics lineup. And if Jaylen Brown cannot go, Sam Hauser, you imagine, is going to take that spot. So you slide him in there. Peyton Pritchard, Derek White, Sam Hauser, Nehemiah Queta, and Chris Boucher, who they just picked up off the street just the other day. I mean, this could be a really, really big break for Philadelphia. It's so important for this team, for the Sixers team, to get off to a hot start. We know what happened last year, how awful that start was. They dug themselves into a hole that they just really could not get out of, right? So if Jaylen Brown does not play this game against the Sixers, all of a sudden, you're looking at this first 5 games here, right? It's not just the first game, but you also play the Celtics again on October 31st. If it's a more severe hamstring injury, which, look, hopefully it's not. Hopefully Jaylen Brown is good to go. Never want to, wish injury on any player. There's a chance he could miss this game too. And so you have a game against the Hornets. Very, very winnable. Magic are a tough team. That'll be a really, really good game. Wizards, very winnable. So there's a chance you could start the season off 4-1 if you could beat the Celtics twice. Minimum, 3-2 if Brown does come back for the second game. So this is big for the Sixers. Again, have to get off to a hot start. They cannot start poorly like they did last year and try to play catch up. It's just not good for anybody on this roster. So possibly a big break if this Jaylen Brown injury does keep him out for that first game of the season against the Sixers. Speaking of that game, who ya got? I'm so glad I can start asking this question again, because that means basketball is back. If you like the Sixers in this one, give me those PHIs. If you think the Celtics still win, type BOS for Boston down in the comment section. I know I'll be spamming my PHIs. That'll do it for today's show. Make sure to hit that sub button, and we'll see you next time right here on 76ers Now.